Troy Parrott will start, and Jack Byrne will start.
In terms of Parrott, obviously 17 years of age, very young debutant. What have you seen in the few days that you've had him training?
Oh, a bright, very intelligent footballer that's really good with the ball at his feet. He did some really good things yesterday. I think he found it tough enough. We had a pretty hard session. They hadn't done anything over the weekend, so they had a fairly intense one. But he enjoyed it. Yeah, he's very capable, there's no doubt about that.
He hasn't actually played a lot of football recently, is that right? Even sort of for under 23s?
I think they get caught between being involved with the first team, travelling with the first team, and it's something that happens at all clubs. You know, the ones that are sort of nearly there, travel with the first team, don't play with the first team, don't play with the 23s. I think his last game was did he get 4 goals in it against, was it Red Star Belgrade he played against? That's his last game. So understandable probably that he was breathing a bit hard when he was training with us.
Will there be any of the players that you will start on Monday who will start tomorrow?
Unlikely, yeah, to start. I'm trying to think. Maybe one might end up starting, maybe 2, but unlikely.
And will you...
I'll not start, get a game in the... I won't be playing them, no.
Will you even bring them on as subs?
Probably not, unless there's some position that I really needed one. No, I'll try not to. I think that's important that they get a week. Most of the team will be in playing.
So what do you hope to get out of this game?
A performance from some of the others. I mean, I'd like to see Troy play well, of course. I'd like to see Jack Byrne. He's starting for the first time. See what Leo Connor does. And, of course, the other lads who are backing up. And you have no idea if somebody would become ill, anything, and miss the game. Who knows? So, you know, there's always an opportunity for somebody else to get a game.
And finally, can I just ask you about your opinions on the Raheem Sterling and Joe Gomez situation? And you've obviously seen a lot of bust-ups as a manager and as a player down through the years. How best to deal with them?
Well, I think Gareth's the best man to deal with it and has done. And to be honest, I've just seen it come back on the news this morning. I said, are they still talking about that? So I'm not going to add any fuel to the fire.
Yes.
Mick, just on that subject, I know you're not adding any fuel, but is that the sort of thing that happens every other week in dressing rooms around the country?
I actually don't know what's happened. Exactly. So, you know, Gareth's dealt with it, and he's the best person. He's managing there. He's been brilliant so far, so I'd have to support everything he does.
Just on Troy, Mick, you obviously handed Robbie Keane a debut as a 17-year-old. Does it take a special kind of player to be pitched into senior international football at that age?
It doesn't take a special kind to be pitched in. It takes a special kind when they are pitched in to thrive, to do well, to make an impression, a good impression, impress everybody. And I hope that's going to be the case with Troy. I mean, you know, Robbie did it instantly and continued to do it, of course, for how many years and how many caps and how many goals.
And what kind of help can Robbie be to a young striker like Troy trying to make his way at this level?
Oh, Robbie's a help to all the strikers, and he was working with some of them yesterday. He'll be doing some more this morning. He was working with Troy for a while yesterday. I think any information he can give in terms of the movement, he was one of the best, Robbie, his movement, to get himself chances. You can help them in terms of finishing because you can give them tips. TC is fantastic at that. But just the all-round play of a striker, Robbie's been one of the best. And if you can't learn from him, he's not going to learn from anybody.
Do you still get excited when you see a young kid come through with that kind of potential?
Yes, I don't think I've seen the full potential just yet in the couple of training sessions that we've had. But, you know, not a lot of things, but he did something yesterday when a ball came into him and he turned and he got his shot off, which was terrific. And you can just see just from that one little cameo, he's got something special.
Can I just ask you about your goalkeepers? You've sort of suggested earlier in the week that you would wrap Darren in cotton wool. Will you?
2 young lads will the two young lads will play. Yeah, whoever I choose to start, they'll both play the game.
Hi, Mick. Just briefly again on Troy. Obviously, you've worked with a hell of a lot of footballers throughout your career. Does Troy remind you of anyone that you've seen close up in the past?
Not really. Not really. No, I haven't seen, please, he's come and he's trained, he's done 2 little sessions with us. Over the course of 2 or 3 camps, I could probably think somebody. And I don't want him to be reminding me, I just want him to be a very good player for us, for himself. I'll see what he sings like tonight as well at dinner. So.
Oh, really, yeah?
Oh, yeah, he's got his song to sing. He's making his debut, isn't he? So, who did he sing the last time, was it? One Direction he did last time. He's promised us he's not going to do that anyway. So.
With the under 15. All right, okay. Do you pick the song, or who? Like, how,
no, not at all. No.
What did you sing? I mean, did you sing before your debut?
I did have to sing on the bus, yes. When I was with Owen Hand, I got told, and I destroyed something. I can't even remember what I said.
What it was. Can I just clarify? Is Lee O'Connor starting as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And Jack.
And do you have any injury concerns actually? In this
no. Thankfully we don't. No, they're all okay, fit and well, and just I think no. Robbie got a bit of a bang yesterday, but he's okay. He's come down with a big smile on his face this morning, so he's okay.
And because I read something that Alex Neil said that Alan Brown needed a bit of management around a hamstring injury. Is that any truth to that?
I've not been made aware of that, so thanks. I'm pleased you told me that.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
And Brownie's not come in and said anything. You wouldn't be surprised, would you, to note that when they come into the camp, they don't come in and say, by the way, boss, I've got a tight hamstring. They don't want to put any doubts in my mind that I might be picking them.
Yeah. My last question is, have you got to see much more in New Zealand? I know it's been difficult.
No, we haven't got. From 18 months, we can't pick anything up. Anything that we've got, we'll have a look at it later on. It's got to be about the lads who play, just how we get on with it and how we do it today. Yeah, or tomorrow, should I say.
They were training beside you on Monday. You weren't tempted to do Marcelo Bielsa and peek over the fence?
We videoed it for them, but I'm not going to look at it now. I don't think that's appropriate, and they weren't doing it to us, so we'll go and play against them. Cheers. Maybe if it was to qualify, I might have a little look at it.
Thanks very much.
Mick, can I just ask, say if Troy Parrott scores 2 goals against New Zealand, there is going to be the obvious clamour for him to be included in some form against Denmark. How do you deal with that kind of media furore over him and the excitement over him if that was to happen?
I hope he scores 2 goals, and then I'll deal with it. It's hypothetical, isn't it? And I don't really talk hypothetically. Let's hope he does it. Let's hope he gets the goals. Let's hope he plays really well. If he plays really well and scores 2 goals, I might have a clamour in my own head to include him in the game as well. So fingers crossed he does that.
And what's Robbie Brady done in training over the last while, that's impressed you? Obviously, he's back in the fold now, and he's been a key player for the Republic over the last number of years.
Robbie's impressed me as a player over his career, and come on, he played in my first games when I came. He started in them, so quite clearly I thought a lot about him. The fact that he hadn't had much football was against him. He'd been injured. And he's not had that much now, but he did start in one of the games, and if he's fit to start for Deitch's team with Burnley, then he's in a much better shape. And he looks it. He's trained really well.
How difficult is it to concentrate in this game with such a massive game on Monday coming up?
I've just tried to put the Denmark game on the back burner, really, because I think it's unfair to the players who are going to play in this game to be concentrating on Denmark. And we have played them. They're not going to change. Their team will be pretty similar to the one that we played against, the players that they've got, what they do. You all keep reminding me that they've played them 560 times over the last 3 years or whatever it is. So the lads know them. I just think it's disrespectful to the lads who are going to play in the New Zealand game if I start talking about the Denmark game. So let's deal with this first, and then we can crack on and deal with the Denmark game.
Mick, Ireland have obviously got other priorities with Monday, such a big game, but this is a massive game for New Zealand against a big team. They haven't played for 18 months.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from New Zealand in this game?
Well, exactly that. That if you just said it's a massive game for them, and it'll be players who, if they haven't played for 18 months, they'll all wanting to put themselves in front of Danny and make him that he wants to pick them. He wants to be in the next games whenever they are. Their qualifiers start. They all want to play international football, and when they do, I haven't seen anybody that doesn't want to play well and not win the game. And as you just said, it's a big game for them, and if they can get a good result, they'll be thrilled with it.
And you obviously watch a lot of Burnley, given there's so many Irish players. What have been your observations about Chris Wood and his development over the last couple of seasons?
I had Chris Wood on loan when I was at Ipswich, so I know Chris pretty well. I think he's become a much better player. He's certainly become leaner, meaner and fitter and since he's been in the Premier League. But wherever he's been a handful. Scores goals, he can hold it up. He's a real... he makes it a real contest for centre-halves, that's for sure. And I just think he's become better. I think it's been a really good move for him going to Burnley.
Are you surprised at his development? Because at Ipswich he struggled in a way to sort of make his mark there.
Well, he didn't. He was on loan, and I think he'd been injured prior to that. And when he came, he wasn't at his fittest. He was just getting there. We went and played at Wolves, and he had a really good game there. And then he was at Leicester. I think they took him back. So we'd sort of just got him to. He looked really getting fitter, looking better at it. They took him back. I'm not surprised at his development at all, because he's a really good footballer. And he's a real eye for goal. There's no doubt about that. And he scored another one. He scored a great goal Saturday, great header, and that was disallowed. But that's him. His all-round play is good, but he's a good finisher. Great lad as well, he was.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Just a quick one about Troy. Obviously, you talk about his positives and everything. Just in terms of throwing him in for his international first start, do you have to have a word with him in terms of there's no pressure for tomorrow's game, that this won't define his, unlikely to define his international career?
Yes. As all of them, one game doesn't define. I don't know too well. There might have been a few that's had one game and never played again. I may well have played some of those as well. But that's not for Troy. Troy's just a young lad who'll need the help of everybody else, and he'll get that as well in terms of what I say to him. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Let's hope he stays fit and well, and he can enjoy it.
You say Jack's going to start as well, Jack Byrne. What are you going to look for from Jack? What do you want him to come and play commanding role in the team, or do you want him to just go out and play his own game?
Depends what he thinks his own game is, I guess. No, I want him to do what he does with Shamrock Rovers, which is he gets hold of the ball, he passes it, he creates chances, he keeps the ball moving, he recycles it for others and doesn't give it away. His free kicks and corners, his deliveries are good, and his penalties are excellent. Having seen the one in the cup final, that was a great penalty. I want him to show that it's not Denmark by any stretch of imagination, but it's a big international game that New Zealand are treating it as a big international game. So, and for Jack it will be, and for him to showcase what he's got, because he's got lots. He has done so much better in the 12 months that I've influenced maybe a bit. TC has in his all-round game. He's got no problems with the ball and that. But off the ball, he's done far better as well, without the ball.
So, assuming you're going to maybe start with a 4-3-3 tomorrow, will Jack not be part of that midfield three? Can we see him as one of the front three? I suppose
No, he'll be part of that midfield three.
He'll be part of that.
Yeah.
And then just in terms of Robbie, you said this would be a good game for Robbie to really get his fitness going.
Yeah.
Does that rule him out of starting against Denmark? The fact that you were sort of...
Not really. We'll see how he is. 90 minutes would make it difficult for him to play, I think, considering the recovery. that he would have to recover from. So I guess if you see me take him off, he might have a chance of starting.
And just to finish, you said you're not really looking at the Denmark game yet, just to keep things.
We've looked at it. Don't get me wrong. We've looked at it.
Yeah.
I've watched the games. I've watched their Switzerland game back. I've watched our game back. Try and pick bits out of it. Mateys. All the staff have watched them back. So we're on that, but not with the lads, because it's unfair to the players to be talking about Denmark. The ones who are playing are really concentrating on the New Zealand game, and that's my point I'm making.
Yeah, and what I'm getting at is, are you going to try and create like a cup final atmosphere in terms of the whole build up? You've played in cup finals. I'm not sure if you've managed cup finals before, but is it
played in them? Never managed them.
Yeah, but so is that something that you'll look to create, sort of just to really get that build up going and one match, one focus?
I think that's happening already. There's a certain buzz about the game, and yes, absolutely. There's no. We're not going to get a second chance at it, so one chance to do it. Thank you.
Hi, Mick. How's it going?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks. Just a quick word on your striking options. James Collins obviously scored against Bulgaria. Scott Hogan, Sean Maguire looking for game time as well. But are you planning to use those lads intermittently during the game on Thursday night, or will James Collins lead the line? Have you thought of that at all?
Well, I just told you who's leading the line.
But will the lads, Scott Hogan, Sean Maguire, they'll all get game time as well, I assume?
Yes, yeah. I'm going to try and I can't give all of them game time, but those other boys will get some time as well, yeah.
Just a word on Lee O'Connor. We've spoken a lot about Troy Parrott, but how is Lee trained? Obviously, he's come in from the under-21 straight in, but how's his nerves been this week? It's a big opportunity for him on Thursday.
Look, they come in and they're always a bit quiet, but they don't come and tell me that they're nervous, or they don't want to show that. You can tell when you're talking to them and how they are around the lads, but the other lads are great in terms of interacting with them and making sure that they settle in well. He's been fine. He trained yesterday. We had on a bigger pitch, not just as a small-sided game, and Lee was good. Yeah, I thought he looks to be settling in. But they don't come and tell me, and they don't. You ask them, "How you doing?" "Yeah, great. I'm fine." I have no idea how the feet are going under the water, but they seem to be settling in. And I said the other lads are very good with them.
James McLean was in front of media yesterday, and I know there's been a lot of headlines, I guess, around chants directed towards him and FA investigations. I don't know if you've spoken to him about where his head's at with regards to all of that, or is it something he's just not?
No, he's been great. No, he's been fine. Trained really well. I saw something from Saturday, but that seems to be dealt with. So no, he's been great. Thanks.
Finally, you mentioned the dinner earlier. I know Mario Rosenstock was in with you lads a couple of days.
He was.
Did you enjoy his impersonation of yourself? How did that go down?
I think the lads enjoyed it more than I did, but I've heard it before. I was at the Sean Cox dinner when he did it, but I guess I always think it's a compliment, is it? When somebody takes you off and everybody knows who they're taking off. That's maybe, it's a compliment that other people know he's doing. He does it particularly well. I think there's a few people in Ireland got a Mick McCarthy impersonation. I've heard a few of them.
Thanks, Mick.
Anyone else? All good? Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.